Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to Chippy Chicks. I'm Kelly Jameson. I'm here with Danica Flynn, Stacy Agdern, and Fortune Whalen. And our Chippy Chick Melanie Ting is away this month, so we have a special guest, Lorelei James.
Hello.
Lorelei is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author. She writes romances and also mysteries under another pen name. Um, she's written lots of, I think, cowboy or Western romances. That's how I got to know Lorelei through her Rough Riders series when we were both Sam Hain authors way back in the day. Those were awesome books. And you also have written a couple hockey romances, I think, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You live in South Dakota,
Right?
and I believe the hockey team that you cheer for is the Colorado Avalanche. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yep, they're about 6 hours drive for us, and my daughter and son-in-law and granddaughters live in Denver, so we get down there frequently. So I get to, probably more games than normal,
That's
except for this year, of course, for some reason. So
How did you become a hockey fan?
I wasn't really a hockey fan. I went to our local hockey game, and it just seemed we went and it just seemed really contrived. Like they looked at the clock and they looked at one another and they dropped the gloves, and
Uh,
it just really wasn't. It wasn't my thing. And so I just kind of said we went with some friends, and I said to my husband, I don't think I'm really a hockey fan. And so then when my kids moved to Denver, they took us to an Avalanche game, and that was in 2015, the year that the Avalanche had 48 points total. It was their worst year ever. So that was that. And so going to an NHL game, I went, okay, this is an entirely different animal. And so then I really started paying attention and watching the games, and got to, have gotten to go to a couple of games every year. And in the year that they won the cup, I ended up going to a lot of games that year. So
yeah, that would be amazing. So amazing. Okay, so we have all kinds of things to talk about tonight. Last week was the trade deadline? Oh my God.
two
Last week or two
weeks.
weeks ago. Anyway, let's talk about that and let's see how our teams that we all cheer for did in the trades, and did we come out ahead or do nothing, or what do you think? How about you, Fortune?
So my team was pretty quiet. They're sitting on $18 million of cap space at the moment, so that's good. Um, they didn't really do much. So they signed like a big D man, and then they offered an extension to Kevin Rooney. But there was a trade that did affect the Flames, which was it was the Golden Knights made a trade. So the Flames now get their 2026 first round draft pick for Noah Hannafin. Um, and then if Vegas makes the playoffs, we'll also get their second round pick. So
Right.
very exciting.
How about you, Danica?
So we got rid of Eric Johnson, which I was happy about. I was not so happy about Scott Lawton, but it wasn't shocking. Like they've been talking about trading him for a while. Um, but I feel like it's leadership concerns me though, because he had a big like leadership role in the locker room, and like he was very supportive of the queer community here in Philly. So I kind of feel like I'm losing like a really great like community guy. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm hoping some of the younger players will like take on that mantle that he is leaving in Philly. But they actually made a couple of trades even before, like way before the deadline. Like we got rid of Joel Farabee. Like they're just consistent. They're like we're always in a rebuild. So I don't I don't so I think they're making moves like that because they're trying to build up that, and our goaltender situation always sucks, so
Okay, how about DC.
So goaltenders is the one situation where we do not suck consistently. Which is an interesting thing to think about. We did make a couple of trades before the deadline. Traded Kako to Vancouver, got JT Miller. Traded Ryan Lindgren to Colorado. And we got Carson Soucy and Urho Vankanainen, and also extended Quick, and I think we also extended Vankanainen. I barely managed to get through the trades without losing Chris Kreider, which is something that I think a lot of Rangers fans are having to come to terms with, that this is his last go around as a Ranger and it's going to hurt. Because I think we're in a bit of a sea change, I think. But I think one of the things that Miller has done is he's re-energized a lot of the players, including Zibanejad. So it's nice to see him scoring again, and it's nice. But I mean, we're not consistent. One of the things that someone pointed out was that the 3 scratches in last game were the 3 players that Drury traded for. So there was clearly some kind of rift between Drury and Laviolette. My hope is that Laviolette is gone. But we don't know. So we'll see what happens, basically. So
why are you hoping that? What's
mostly because of his roster management decisions. There are a lot of situations where, for example, why did it take so long to put Zach Jones in the lineup? He's a young defenseman. He's deserved a chance for a while.
Yeah.
He's good, and he has been fantastic in the last couple of games. When you gave him a chance on the ice, he's playing well, but for whatever reason, he didn't get one. And it's now you're playing him kind of thing. And it's just kind of illustrative of his issues with roster. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Yep.
So Lorelei, how did the Avalanche do? Oh, I already know this, but you can tell us anyway.
Actually, several people have said Chris McFarland, who's our GM, made magic happen, which I was really happy. We lost Rantanen about 8 weeks ago in a surprising trade to Carolina. And there's a lot of Avs fans are like, we're never going to be the same again. And I'm like, he wanted McKinnon money, and he's not Nathan McKinnon. And I like Rantanen is a great player, but he's not Nathan McKinnon. And so I think that's going to become very apparent when he is not playing on that line, because we ended up with Natchez, and he is playing with McKinnon, and he's having one of his better years. And so we ended up with Lindgren. We ended up with Eric Johnson, who is a huge hometown favorite. I know he was only playing 6 minutes, maybe every other game. I think he only played 40 games in Philly. But they're happy to have him back because of the locker room, because of our no captain situation for 2 years or almost 3 years. So we ended up with Brock Nelson. We ended up with Charlie Coyle from the Bruins. We ended up with Drury. We ended up with, I think it's VESEY. I don't know where he was from.
Yeah, DC was from New York.
Okay, yeah. We ended up with him. So I feel like we did really good in the deadline, and plus we solved our goalie issue in January. And so, I mean, I feel really, I felt a lot better losing Rantanen and getting those pieces that seem to fit in with the rest of the guys. They seem to have just had kind of a really smooth transition, which I know doesn't always happen. How about you? How about the Jets?
So yeah, the Jets, I wasn't really sure if they were going to do much, but they made a couple of trades, and we got a couple new guys. Well, new old. Brandon Tanev, he used to play for the Jets years ago. And we lost him to the Kraken in the expansion draft. I really liked him. I was sad when he left, so I'm glad that he's back. He's a crazy guy, though.
He's definitely has a personality, which
Yeah,
is
he does.
I feel like
I
rare
went to the
in
game
hockey.
the other night on Tuesday night, and I was watching him. I'm like, I think he's on like some kind of amphetamines or something. He's like wired like all the time. And we also got Luke Shen. So that's kind of a nice big defenseman. And I think everybody was kind of like, yeah, okay. But again, at the game the other night, he was just laying hits everywhere and blocking shots, and it was good. So I think those were good moves. We only lost draft picks, second round draft picks, one for each of them. Again, we're not going to have any draft picks left forever because we keep using those to trade away. But I think they were good moves. So I mean, who knows? Time will tell, but it looks pretty good. I thought it was interesting because I was reading in the paper the news coverage about it afterwards, and it was interesting about how everybody was watching Winnipeg and Colorado and Dallas, and all these big names that were potential trades. Even the players were keeping an eye on where these guys went because they know, like the Jets know that they're going to end up meeting probably one of those teams because we're all in the Central Division. So they were all kind of like, who's going to end up in Colorado and who's going to end up in Dallas? And I thought that was kind of interesting that they were like really paying attention to that. It was kind of cool. So yeah, the Jets are like obviously all in for making the playoff run. So hopefully that works out. So did anybody happen to watch that PWHL game where the fight broke out?
No.
I
They
didn't
fight
watch it.
sometimes. They're not supposed to, but they do.
Yeah. I just thought it was hilarious. But I mean I watched clips of it. I wasn't watching the game either, but I watched clips of it. It was the Boston Fleet versus the Ottawa Charge, and one of the players, what's her name? I have it here somewhere. Solner. I guess she went in on this other woman on the other team and like cross-checked her into the boards, and then cross-checked her a few more times. And she just had enough. So she turned around, dropped her stick, and started throwing her gloves at Solner. And they were actually having a fight. It was kind of amazing.
So I pulled up the clip. Um, and I was like just talking to my husband. I was like, oh, there was a fight in the PWHL, and he's like, there's not a fight, they're not allowed, it's illegal. And then I was like, no, for real. And he's like, what? Just like hats and gloves, like they're like like in junior when they're like little kids when you go on a road trip. And then I showed him, and he was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Like it was a good fight. So
Well,
I
I
don't.
didn't know that. I mean, I guess a fight in the PWHL will get you a 1 game suspension on top of a 5-minute fighting penalty. So that's probably why they don't happen very often. You only got 30 games or something like that in their seasons. You don't want to lose like a game just because of that. They didn't actually apparently record this as a fight, so it wasn't recorded as a fight. But also, the Vanishava, the one who got the other one who got cross-checked and kind of turned around and started throwing punches, actually ended up, if they had recorded it officially, I guess, with a Gordie Howe hat trick.
That is
Apparently she had a goal or an assist, and I guess she scored like with minutes or seconds left in the game, apparently. And then with a fight, she could have had that. And I also I learned that they won't drop their gloves because they all wear full cages. So you can't be punching each other with bare hands.
Yeah.
That's not gonna go well.
But it ended up being a good fight, like because you can. I think because you've got gloves on and the cage, like think you're throwing a little harder.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You
And
can still throw them on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you got to pick them up.
Yeah.
Jump on them.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that was interesting that they had their first fight, although not officially, I guess. I don't know what makes it official, but
What did they record it as? Like roughing or something? I don't know what
yeah, good question. I don't know what the penalties
A
were.
rule change after the fight too, memory serves, like, I remember seeing the announcement.
Oh,
Let me see if I can find it.
In my one book where I have a female hockey player, she is asked to be part of an NHL showcase kind of a thing where, several people are, and so she's playing with men, but also the other team also had a woman come and play on their team. And since they're in the NHL, then they could fight and they hated one another. So I actually had them get into a
That's
fight,
fun.
which was really fun to do.
yeah.
Because she always wanted to fight her, but she never could, so it's like NHL, no different rules now. So
Yeah. 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 That's cool. What else has been happening? So we had Aaron Ekblad got suspended for 20 games, I think. Was that right? Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
Under the NHL's performance enhancing drug policy. So what do we all think about that? Danica?
His statement was weird. Like he was like, I took something I shouldn't. Or
Yeah.
like, I guess I took something I shouldn't. Like the way it was
Yeah,
worded was like,
very-
you don't know what you took. Like you don't know. Like
Here's
so
what
it
he
was
said.
kind of
I made a mistake by taking something to help me recover from recent injuries without first checking with proper medical and team personnel.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was strange. It
yeah.
was the way he worded it was like really weird. I
Yeah.
was like, okay. But I feel like I can't remember the last time I've heard something like that in hockey.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was trying to find out what it was. Couldn't find anything. I ended up on a page where it had like people who have been suspended for PDs in NHL, and 20 games seems to be like the standard for that. But also, all right. So then I was like, oh, maybe it's a conspiracy theory because the Panthers are the defending champions, and then they just did this blockbuster trade, and now that was just my non-brain just doing things today. So right. If he doesn't know what he took, maybe I don't know.
Well, this leads to all
Rating.
kinds of like I saw some discussion online about it. Of course, people wonder what it was.
And it was, and what would have happened if they caught him earlier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like people question, well, if he's juicing, as they put it, maybe he was juicing last year when they won the cup and they shouldn't have won it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and we dealt with that with Nichushkin because the year after we won the cup and when we were playing the Kraken, he had that whole issue that happened supposedly with the Russian hooker and cocaine, and nobody could really say, and so everyone was saying, well, maybe that's the reason that he did so well the year before was because they skirted the drug testing. And so I mean it sucks to be on the accusing end of that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there's apparently a list of prohibited substances, and I don't know what it is. I didn't look that hard, but I don't know if it's actually spelled out in the collective
think
bargaining
it
agreement
was.
or not. But like all of those, Well, but then why would they be banned? I'm not really clear on this, because they're saying like, there's a lot of prohibited substances, but maybe they're not necessarily performance enhancing.
But
Yeah,
then
so
the purpose of being performance enhancing drug policy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of weird. And I don't think, I mean, like you could you get through the playoffs if you were doing performance enhancing drugs? Like I don't know how they do random drug tests, but they have to test during the playoffs, I would think.
I don't know. I feel like drugs would make you worse if you were in a high competition. You know what I mean? Like you can't even
Well,
function
yeah,
regularly. Like and then you're gonna have to like be on TV and do stuff. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know the parameters, but I mean, what if what if you live in a place that has legalized marijuana and stuff, and you're in Colorado, you can actually, you can, or in Canada or wherever. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even know what the regulations are for something like that.
I believe marijuana is okay.
I think it is because I feel like I remember
Yeah,
McDavid talking about using like edibles and stuff
yeah,
um as recovery for
yeah.
recovery specifically. So I don't think that's really banned. When I was thinking, I know like the league has a huge coke problem, but I wouldn't like, and a lot of the reason is because it gets out of your system really quickly than other drugs. But I don't know if they would consider that performance enhancing, you know?
Right?
Like I don't think that would be it. So it was, I don't know. So I'm like, what did he take?
Yeah, so it's all kind of unclear, and we'll probably never know for sure what he took and why and
I
how it
mean
affected.
someday, but not today.
Maybe someday.
I don't know.
Um,
Um,
so I actually found the notice about the rule. The
oh yeah,
change. Yep. Um, according to an article by Haley Salvian, a fight will now be penalized with a 5-minute major penalty and a game misconduct with a possibility of further discipline following a review and taking into consideration repeat offenders. So it is no longer prohibited, so to speak,
right.
but so now it's being folded into the rules because of what happened.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that's the change.
That is interesting.
I feel like given what happened, that maybe they won't get suspended. They probably won't get game suspensions then.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Based on the
Yeah,
context
probably
of that.
Like I think
Like,
eventually they'll show up, like if you've got like a multiple offender, like someone who's like regularly fighting, they'll be like, okay, fine, yeah, you need to like sit down and cool it. But
yeah.
Never down.
So, Fortune, you had posted something in our chat um about Ovechkin. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, okay. So I've been not like obsessed with it, but I've been since last season. I was like, oh, Ovechkin's gonna catch Wayne Gretzky's
Right.
scoring record, right? So at the moment, so the scoring record is 894 that Gretzky has, and Ovechkin's at 887 as of say yesterday. I don't know if he played today, but everyone's just like watching the chase and watching the chase and watching the chase, and he's like, well, maybe so what he's done now is partnered with hang on, let me see who partnered with a let me see. He's partnered with Monumental Sports and Entertainment, who owns the Capitals. And so for every goal he scores from now until he retires, he will donate that amount of money to cancer research, and then it'll be matched by Monumental Sports. So when it's 888, he'll donate 888 and then 889 and then so on and so on until for the rest of
Wow.
his career, which I think is great because
Yeah.
like who cares about he's like, who cares about the chase? Not like I don't care, but let's do something with it, I guess. And not just until he reaches it. He said for every goal forever till he's
Wow.
retired, which I think is great. Especially now that we don't like Gretzky anymore. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. But I think it's a cool thing to do. And I thought it should just there's no controversy there. Just like to mention it.
I like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Gretzky's fine. Yeah. He's,
We don't talk about it.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. We won't talk about Gretzky right now. We have enough time. There was another thing that was cool that I thought, would be fun to talk about. So the other day, I guess it was, I don't know what day it was. Saturday. Yeah, yesterday. Speaking of Ovechkin, that Macklin Celebrini was getting a chance to play against him. So he apparently met Ovechkin when he was about 5 or 6 years old, when he was watching him play, and he doesn't remember where the game was or if Ovechkin scored a goal or anything else about it, but he has a picture of him to commemorate the occasion. And now he's actually going to be playing against him. Like, how often does that happen? Because Ovechkin's been around for so long that little kids that were 5 or
Mhm.
6 and watched him play are now playing against him. Isn't
yeah.
that crazy?
Yeah. He's getting old. He's getting up there.
Yeah, right?
I think
Well,
this
as
thing-
Fortune was talking about his charity thing, I was like, well, how much longer is he gonna play? But I feel like he still has years left, in the tank. It doesn't feel like he's stopping.
Yeah.
No, I agree. He's not having 50-goal seasons, but he's definitely got a couple 20, 30s left for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Well, he went and played soccer during the Nations tournament when everyone else was, on vacation or wherever. He decided, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go play soccer. It's like, who does that?
Everyone else is laying on the beach.
Yep.
He's playing soccer. Wow. Yeah, he's pretty amazing. I always think that's so cute when guys that were, meet their idol, and then I think that should go in a book, right? Has anybody ever put that in a book?
I can't. I don't know if I've read one like that.
You had one where it was the daughter. Oh, maybe it was the daughter of the owner's team. The owner of the team's daughter and the
I
guy.
can see all of your guys' eyes. You're going like this.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I'm just trying to
"Why?"
think.
There has
Just
to be
as we're
something,
talking.
I'm pretty sure.
I think for some reason, I remember that happening another time, years ago, and I thought I was writing it into a book, and I can't remember if I did or not. Obviously,
No, I distinctly
many
remember.
books.
I think there is one where there was I feel like it's a Danica book where it was
You know what? I think it's that book I shelved.
oh, was
Is
it?
It was Secret Baby, and the baby was the rookie goaltender on the team. That's what you guys
Oh,
are thinking of. And I shelved that book because I was just like, I don't think I can pull off this trip.
Maybe later.
I don't know. I have thought about it. But I'm
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know.
I was I know I've heard this one before.
I think that is what you're thinking of, is that show.
Amazing.
No, that's a good idea.
Wow.
Has
God, I love, sorry, just on a writing thing. I love when you're just writing something, you're I don't know if I've got the skill for this one. Because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
something you do after you've written a bunch of books that you've had to rip apart and fix. But yeah.
That's a
Happens all the time.
tough trope too. People hate it. And I was like, oh, it's not gonna be good.
Oh no. The Secret Baby. It depends. Oh
Yeah.
Sorry, if the secret baby has been kept away and grows up, that's what they don't like. It's not necessarily the secret baby.
Yeah, and that's basically what
It's
happened.
the lying. The betrayal. I can't do it. Yeah.
True. Yeah. So I guess we can move on to our monthly style report. Are we ready for that?
Oh,
I just opened it and I'm laughing at Fortune's photo
Oh, no.
that one comes with a story too.
again.
Yeah.
You should go first. I should have put it in a different order.
Yeah. Oh, and we can't forget. Hopefully we can.
Oh, everything
I'm gonna
is
go first. I might as
shocking.
well go first.
Okay.
Okay. So Daryl Sutter. So
Let's
this is
talk
a
about this
poster. So Andrew Ference during the 04-05 run used to he used to carry a digital camera around, and for some reason he posted like a whole bunch onto his Instagram and tagged the Flames. So I was kind of going through them, seeing if there was any like good ones for best dressed, because you know me, I don't like to just do the regular thing. But I found this and I thought it was freaking amazing. This is my best dressed person, Daryl Sutter as Flamebow. Because of the flames. I love it. I love it. And you can clearly, so it was something that they cut out and like put in a DVD, because that's what they were known for. Like there's stories where they would sew his pocket shut so he couldn't get his whistle in practice.
Oh.
Like stuff like that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
I think it's amazing.
That is amazing. Look at him.
Okay.
I love it.
So if you go to the Calgary Flames like Instagram, and then you can like go down and you'll find Andrew Ference's stuff, and there's a whole bunch in there. And it kind of made me sad because I saw like there's like I forgot names are when I was doing it, I was like, oh, I remembered all their names. I can't now because I'm not looking at them. But well, like Chris. Oh no, do you remember? So it's like when Chris Simon had a mohawk, and like just it was wild time.
That's beautiful.
It made me laugh.
Yeah. I can do my guy up at the top left there. That's I don't have a story to go with it. I just liked his fit this time. I think this was just last week, and I think it shows that the weather here is warming up. So he's like, wearing like not a big winter coat over his sharp red plaid jacket, blue tie, tan pants with a matching hat. You get the full effect of the outfit without having the winter gear. So
You mean it's
spring
like
is coming to Winnipeg.
Yeah, like Mountie-esque.
Now that you said it, I can see it.
Yes!
I'm sorry. But, like, okay, honestly, like I went through all the Flames like outfits for the last month. There was nothing that, sorry, they all look great, but I was just like, meh. So I love this. Love
I
it.
don't even have a Flyers one this time because they never post anything good.
And for those who don't know who that's Adam Lowry, that's the Jets
Okay.
captain.
I have a story from I saw this and I was like, had to scroll back because I was like, wait, what? And Brett Burns' 40th birthday, they all the Canes came out and wore these beards. This was just like one that I saw on Jordan Martin, but like all of them did it for Brett Burns' birthday. So I just thought that was funny.
It's amazing.
All right, Lorelei, tell me who your guy is.
This is one of our new players. This is Brock Nelson. And I just thought I just picked it because I thought he looked really sharp. I liked the gray.
Mhm.
And I liked how it kind of highlighted a little bit of the gray and the little bit of his beard that he had and a little bit of his hair. And I thought, yeah, he was looking pretty sharp. And I think that was actually taken today because
Wow.
I'm always late on my homework.
It's okay.
I'm like, crap, I gotta find somebody. And then I
No.
saw that one and I thought, well, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that picture got cropped to put on the
yeah.
graph there, but he looks really tall. Is he really tall?
he is tall. I think
Yeah.
he's like 6'5", 6'4",
Yeah.
6'5".
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's really cool to see it because one of the like you think about trades and you think about different sort of culture going from team to team. And one of the things that I hear a lot over here from Islanders fans is that Lou Lamoriello does not do the suit picks. They are only allowed to do suit picks during like playoff season and special occasions. Yeah, it's weird.
It's very weird.
And so it's interesting to see Brock Nelson in one of these suit picks because this is probably a new thing for him that like whether he likes it or not, who knows, but you know, he looks like he's comfortable.
Yes.
He definitely looks comfortable and that's kind of awesome. So sometimes I pick a suit pick just because I think the player is awesome, and that's the case in this particular photo. Yes, Igor Shesterkin looks really good in that particular photo. He's very laid back. The suit, you know, fits very closely up top, showing off his upper chest. And the pants are much more comfortable, they're relaxed, and he looks relaxed too. It's a fundamental change from his first couple of seasons. His hair looks fundamentally different. Again, like it's a little bit shorter. He didn't do an extreme Artemi Panarin movement, but he did cut his hair. So it's interesting to see like how the shorter hair looks with him. Especially considering last night he had a shutout. So achievement in best dressed and also in hockey playing.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
love it.
I don't know the actor's name, but there's a British actor that always reminds me of Brock Nelson. So now, like, I just he's not a very big one.
Oh, I feel like he kind of looks like Henry Cavill in this photo. A little bit.
Got that square jaw.
Yep.
I'm interested to see if like, because I know the Islanders, they're not like allowed to have like the beards or anything because Lou is very like controlling. Oh yeah, it's really weird.
Yep.
So it's just interesting if he'll start to rock a beard or anything. Because again,
And it's really interesting because like the argument was always like, well, Lou Lamoriello doesn't, but he's not the only one because the Yankees do it too.
Mhm.
That actually stops this year. The Yankees are now allowed to have facial hair.
Oh.
So like it was like a big conversation. So that is no longer an argument. That is no longer a conversation. Like that is no longer a rejoinder to the but Lou Lamoriello is close. No. Yankees can change, so can Lou Lamoriello.
I don't remember who it is, but there was a player that was known for having a big like bushy beard, and they got traded to the Islanders, and I was like, nah. I don't remember who it was though.
There have been a couple situations where that policy has come under.
Could be like Rapunzel cutting off her hair. Like
It happened a couple of times, like
yeah.
not only with the Islanders, but also with the Yankees, like watching players come into the Yankees, you know, with like this long hair and these bushy beards, and then come to Yankees and you see the first photo. And then it's like,
Okay.
Sure. What else we got?
Well, that was fun. Okay, so let's move on to our wildest things. Who wants to go first?
Well, I don't have one, so you can skip me.
You don't have one?
No,
Oh, wait.
I just
Did somebody do the what's it called? Did somebody take like the San Jose thing?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Oh,
No.
you guys don't know anything about it?
Maybe your wildest things.
So yeah, so I looked it up, and so there was a video review, and the reps were like at the booth or whatever, and it says video review, and then you see this guy with $100 bill just like holding holding it out to the refs, but like a hundred. It was pretty funny actually, and there's just the timing of it because he must have been looking at the screen where it said like video review, and like it was good. That wasn't my one, but there you go.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Like he's trying to bribe them, right? He's like,
well, you wrote clickbait on it, and I was like, ugh, do I really want to look? But it was what it was.
I mean, it was a joke, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real bribery situation, but that's how they put the headline. Fan tries to bribe the refs. And I was like, what?
Yeah. I like when stuff like that happens. Sometimes things are
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah. I can go with mine since it's sort of related. So there's a little 4-year-old boy named George who went to his very first the very first hockey game ever for the Red Wings. So I did link it. But if you see it, they showed him on a jumbotron. He has a sign, or his parents have a sign. My name is George. My first game ever. Da 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 da. And everyone was cheering, "Yay! Whoa!" And then they like switched. They like took the camera off him to a Canucks player, and then everybody started booing. Like the whole crowd started booing. So they put it back, and everyone cheered again, boo! And then it just became like a bit of a running joke, and they would show the next Canucks fan, and they'd be like, boo! But I did I linked it in the chat, so if you guys want to go take a look at it, or you can even just look at it. It was so cute though. The kid was so cute.
Aw.
Yeah, that was my wildest thing. Cutest
Stacey,
thing.
what have you got?
Sure. So speaking of cute things, one of the Sirens goaltenders actually had a new mask done. And it was a whole big thing. And the reason it was a whole big thing, and it also ties in with cute kids and things, is because Abby Levy's mother is a teacher, and members of her mother's class made her mask. And if you see the pictures, it is adorable. The kids supplied the drawings that would be placed upon the mask. And so if you look at the mask, you'll see the individual drawings, and it's just the colors, and then of course on the top of the mask you have the list of the artists, the members of her mother's class.
Aw. Aw.
Yeah, it's the cutest thing.
That's super cute. Lorelei, have you got something wild to talk about?
Wild, not not really. Nathan McKinnon shot his 1,000th goal, and they called it back for offsides.
Oh my God.
And so the whole team, when he hit that 1,000th goal, the whole team, everybody jumped up the bench, and they crowded around him, and then they called the goal back.
Oh no.
So when he shot again and he actually got the 1,000th goal, it's just like they're all kind of like, well, what do we do?
Yeah, whatever.
do we jump on the ice again or whatever? So it's kind of funny.
Kind of anticlimactic at that point.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Those are the funny ones, like when everyone's waiting so there's no sound, and then the puck goes and goes ding, and then everybody's like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, I just would like to know what it would feel like to be like a player on the team like that.
Well, my wildest thing is about Jonathan Toews. Now I could talk for a long time about Jonathan Toews. So it's been 2 years almost, apparently, since Jonathan Toews played. He got long COVID and some kind of chronic inflammatory syndrome after that, and hasn't been able to play. So he's been recovering, but he's been working hard at his recovery, which doesn't surprise me knowing him. And he's been traveling and learning how to surf in Costa Rica and Bali, and going to India on a spiritual and physical healing journey, doing all kinds of things. And now he's ready to play again. He thinks he is ready to play again. So he's almost 37 years old. But thinks he's got more hockey in him. And of course, the big discussion is, where is he going to end up? Now, I think he should come here. Not that I'm biased or anything, but it makes sense because it's his hometown, right? That would be a perfect place for him to finish his career. I don't know. Well, I guess we can always use somebody like Jonathan Toews, but like, what if you gonna kind of take the risk of signing him, and he's 37 years old and he's been sick and out of the game for 2 years, and what if he's doesn't really have any hockey left in him? I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, but like Brad Marchand. So we did. I don't. We kind of skipped over it, but
Oh yeah, we were going to talk about that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. People are gonna say the same thing that he's old or whatever, but he's got 2 Stanley Cups. Like I don't think that's not nothing to sneeze at. And Jonathan Toews was the same type of person.
Mhm.
And I imagine he is good in the room. That he can
Yeah.
help off the ice. That he can help in practice. Like he could be a player, like a player coach. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Someone will pick him up.
37 years old. Like I'm almost 10 years older than him, and yeah, he's not old. Like he's hockey old for sure.
Yeah, he's hockey old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, 37, that's a young man, yes. It's just hockey. There was talk of the Rangers possibly being interested in him. What do you think, Stacey?
Well, I mean, if it would be interesting to see. I would be absolutely furious, however, if they traded Kreider to create the cap space for that, because that would absolutely like, because why? Like, why would you, say that this guy has the ability to play, but not this one? Does that make sense to me? Like, that makes sense? Like, why? So I would put him in a very limited capacity. Like I think like a Jonathan Quick style contract. Not necessarily like maybe 1 year, not two-way because that would never happen, but like
Yeah.
1 year, like, part, like not expected to play many minutes, expected more in the room, give him that sort of space so that if he does say words like I can't play, the team is not out very much.
Yeah.
Like, and also like, and also he's not out very much. Like, like I remember when Martin Biron was at the end of his career and he was the backup to Henrik Lundqvist for a while. And one of his greatest assets was his ability to sit on the bench and like help the players in the shootouts, dealing with the opposing goaltenders. He was basically like a player coach at the same time. And like he would you would see the players go over to Biron and be like, okay, what do I do? How do I deal with this guy? What do I, how do I, and it was amazing. And he was great at that. So like create a situation where like the pressure isn't on him to produce, but to give his knowledge and play if he can.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's more of a role than just actually being on the ice for somebody like him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like but beyond all of that, I will reiterate that if the move they make is to trade Kreider in order to do it,
Okay.
I'm absolutely entirely not in favor of that.
One of the other teams that was mentioned was, well, obviously Chicago, but I think he has ruled that out. But there was a suggestion but they're in a rebuild and maybe that's not quite the right place for him, but he would get to play with like Connor Bedard and be a kind of a mentor for some of those guys that are in that rebuilding stage. Or also the Oilers, because Stan Bowman is running things there. And he was the one who was the GM in Chicago when Taves was there. But he might not want to, I don't know.
Right.
I think the Jets is probably the best. Did I
I
ever
agree.
tell you? No, never mind. Yeah, let's talk a bit about, we were gonna, during when we were talking about those trades, talk about Marchand a bit. Because that was like, Boston fans were like so upset about that.
Mhm. He was their captain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
same kind of
captain.
like from what I read, it was like the same situation that landed Brock Nelson in Colorado. Like, but with a little more sharpness, as it were, on Boston's side. Like I think Marchand wanted an extension in terms of like term, and they weren't willing to give it to him in Boston, so they traded him. He was like, "Where do you want to go?" And he's like, "The only place I'll go is Florida," and that's what happened. But it's
Interesting.
Yeah, 16 years he was in Boston.
That's
That would
wild.
be like, I know any player that had been here for 16 years, I'd be heartbroken.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Churu for the Flyers.
Mm.
He also went
Yeah.
to Florida. So just they all want to go to Florida.
Yeah, like,
Well,
I
there's
think
no
it's the
income tax for
taxes.
one thing, you know.
the
I think that's a big reason why
Yeah.
Rantanen ended up in Texas, to be honest with you, is because there's no state income tax in Texas. And so, I mean, when you're looking at that kind of a payout, I think, you know, he could take maybe less money, but he would still put more money in his pocket because of the tax situation.
yeah, that's a
So,
good,
Yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely
yeah,
Oh, 1000%.
I get it, but it's just like interesting.
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think also about Dallas is that they were saying that there's a large Finnish contingent in Dallas, and that like one of the things that he was able to find is sort of community there.
Here's this quote that I found, and now I sadly can't remember who said it. Kachuk, Marchand, Bennett would be the most scummy dirtbag line of all time.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I mean that as a compliment. It's like,
It makes me
holy
happy.
crap.
I'm happy to see Kachuk and Bennett back together. I wouldn't, you know, I'm into it.
All right. Does anybody have any book news to share? Nobody has anything. Oh my God.
I didn't talk about it last time because I wasn't here.
Oh yeah.
I re-edited my debut. So the new version is live. For people who want to read that. I
And
don't
the
want to
title,
read
the
it again.
title is
Take the Shot.
okay.
It's the first book in my Bulldog series. And then I'm starting a new small town series called The Murphy Brothers, and the first book is coming out next month.
When you re-edited it, did you do a new cover or it's the same?
No, I kept the same cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good.
I saw Kelly. I saw your repackaged
Yeah.
stuff. The peach thingy, the wine.
The one,
That-
the new wine series.
That's not repackaged, that's new.
That's
Oh,
new.
that's new? All
Yeah,
right.
that's a whole new series. A multi-author series. There is a hockey player in it. He's a retired hockey player who buys a winery. As they do.
As they
Celebrity
do.
winery, right?
They all moved to Kelowna.
Yeah, the whole series is about three sisters who inherit a winery from their grandmother in Napa Valley. And that's not what any of them plan to be doing, but that's where they end up. I do have repackaged stuff. I will, by our next live stream, I'll have I'll share stuff with you. Because it's all, oh my God, it's taking so long, but it's happening. It's happening. And my next release is actually out in June, which I only happened to discover. My publisher didn't tell me that. I thought it was August. I was looking on Amazon and I saw they have a placeholder cover up for it because we haven't finalized the cover yet. And it's June 3rd, I think, is the release date. So I'm like, oh, that's not that far away.
Yeah.
I'll share that too when I have the final cover.
We're flipping a house, and so I have no writing time at all.
Oh.
It's just like when I have, you know, I'm trying to catch up on a bunch of backlog stuff that needs to get done. I lost my PA, and she was my PA for I think
Me too.
12 or 14 years. And I mean, I
Same.
lost her
Oh my God.
over a year ago, a year and a half ago, just thinking that, you know, she never said, "Oh, I'm not going to work for you anymore." It just ended up being, you know, one of those things. And so she did everything for me. And so this is like so much stuff that shit, I have no idea how to do it. I mean, you know, and so it's a massive learning curve when you get to my age, and it's like, what, how does that work? I have no idea how to do that. And so, there's a lot of that in my life. Hey, we need new covers. We need to do this. We need to do that. And so then by the time I'm done with the business end of it, I'm like, and now I get to go strip wallpaper and I
Yeah.
get to paint doors. And I mean, and so any new material for me, I've started probably 6 new projects, but I haven't been able to actually move forward on anything because I'm one of those writers that I need to dig in. I need to dig in and I need to have nothing else going on. At least that's how I used to write. Apparently, I can't write any other way. And so it's just been, you know, people keep like tapping their fingers going, when's your next book coming out? And I'm like, no idea,
Oh.
which kind of
I'm in the
sucks. But
same boat. Like this was the worst possible time to lose my PA because I got the rights back to like 10 books. And I mean, putting up one book with, you know, the formatting and uploading it at all the retailers and, you know, all the stuff that goes along with that, that's enough work. But 10 all at once, like, and I'm like, I don't do that stuff.
well, I'm trying to find a cover artist. I mean, you know, I asked for the rights back to a couple of my Penguin Random House books, and they
Yeah.
basically said no and sent me an absolute crap cover. And I'm not even going to get into it.
Oh
And I just
no.
said no. This is not the Western market right now. And so they're going back to the drawing board and push the re-release date or whatever. In the meantime, I'm thinking, okay, if they're going to recover this, I have to recover the international editions. And so I contacted a person that does the, you know, the illustrated covers. And I said, I would need to redo 10 covers. And she said, yeah, I can work you in September for one cover. And I'm like, how do you even do this? I mean, you know, it's just the wait for stuff is so long.
Yikes.
So I just don't think that doing my own covers is ever going to be in my wheelhouse anyway.
No.
So it's wait. I mean, I wish that I was that creative, but I'm not. So
I'm not either.
No, and it doesn't do you any favors to put out something that doesn't look
Mhm.
professional. Yeah. And Westerns are so popular right now. Are those the books that are?
yeah, and you know, and that was my biggest complaint is I contacted my agent and I'm like, I want these books back because, you know, I've had people tell me that they can't keep Elsie Silver's books in stock. They can't keep
Yeah.
Lila Sage's books in stock. And it's like, you know, I've been doing this way, way longer than a lot of people have. And it's just like, you know, my books started out corralled, saddled and spurred, wrangled and tangled, and Lila Sage's books set in Wyoming are looped and lassoed and that kind of stuff. And I said, you guys are missing the boat by
Yeah.
not recovering these books. I said, and I went back and read them and they're not aged. If they had aged, I could admit that they had aged, but they
Yeah.
haven't aged. And so they said, oh yeah, well, we're going to recover them. And I'm like, they're not going to give me my rights back, you know, but if they do some kind of a push, I'd be okay with that. But now I don't know. It's just really frustrating because
Seems like
it feels like there's so much I don't have any control over.
right. That's
So
that's the sucky thing about working with publishers. But it's like an opportunity for sure. It seems like a no-brainer to like recover them and, you know, put a little promo in and could do
let's
really well.
hope. I mean, if they get any kind of push behind it at all, I'd be fine with it. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we're just about done. We're almost out of time. Did we do have a date for next month, don't we? April, is it? Shoot.
April, I have it somewhere.
You have it somewhere?
After Passover.
27th after Passover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
April 27th will be our
27th, yeah.
next live stream. So, oh, and I was just gonna throw out a quick question for anybody who is watching, listening. What kinds of things would you like to hear us talk about? Would you want to hear us talk about more book stuff? Do you want to hear us talk about, do you want us to explain hockey things or talk about more hockey inspiration, anything? I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out. If there's anything that you want to hear us talk about, let us know. You can either drop a comment in the YouTube under the YouTube video, or you can email us. Our email address is 5chippychicks@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know. Otherwise, we'll just keep talking about whatever makes us happy, but we have fun doing it. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming, Lorelei. It was awesome.
Thanks for inviting me. This was really fun. I love to talk about hockey.
Yeah, so do we. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna play the music, play us out.